Well, I think she's got Rishi on the ropes. Let's begin. Now, of course, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Liz Truss has been the front runner for quite some time. Mainly, I think, due to the fact that a lot of people, including me, think that Rishi Sunak is basically a bit of a backstabber after the part he played in Boris's downfall. Not only that, but the help he gave his wife tax-wise, of course, didn't exactly do him wonders, did it? And also, quite early on in hustings, if I remember rightly, he said something to do with that he had a lot of plans to turn the country's finances around and things like that. But to be honest, if that was the case, it makes me wonder why he didn't exactly implement those plans for the last 2 years whilst he was Chancellor. But just in case, of course, there is any doubt in anyone's mind, Liz has come out and gave Richie 2 virtual hammer blows, in my opinion. Go on by these stories from the Metro and the Sun. Makes you wonder what Rishi will say next. But that's not fair! I came up with that Ready for Rishi website since December! The article also says that Liz Truss insisted there would be no energy rationing in the UK if she is chosen as the Prime Minister next week. But her rival Rishi Sunak warned we shouldn't rule anything out as they faced off at the final leadership hustings in London last night. And to be honest, that's a typical government, oh, we shouldn't rule anything out safe answer, isn't it? Not wanting to take any risks about being picked up on anything if he does need to do that. But of course, while playing safe is all well and good, and obviously a lot of politicians have done that in the past, that's not what the country needs right now, is it? When there's energy crisis going on and people striking all over the place, we need decisive answers. And Liz Truss' comment saying we're not doing that gives the public the reassurance we need that we're not all going to be sat there under candlelight. Liz, the current Foreign Secretary, claimed there would be no new taxes if she took office. In an indication that she'll provide further support to households with nightmare energy costs, she suggested that a priority would be to address costs in the form of a budget or a fiscal event. However, her rival offered a less definitive answer on the issue of energy rationing following a warm-up video labelling himself the underdog. Now, I'm pretty sure not so long ago there was rumours going about that Liz Truss might half VAT. But even if that isn't the case, hopefully she'd at least be open to cutting the 5% green tax that we all have to pay on our energy bills, which would actually help a bit, wouldn't it? Also, does anyone else think that by Rishi naming himself as the underdog, isn't that basically saying that he thinks he's going to lose anyway? Thereby not giving the public much confidence that he'll be the right person for the job. Now, her second hammer blow at Rishi came when she said that she'd be open to the idea of something else. Liz Truss, the current Foreign Secretary, said she would consider abolishing the current legal speed limit in a bid to give drivers back more freedoms. The national speed limit for motorways has been 70 miles an hour since 1965, but has long been fought over by motoring groups and road safety campaigners. Truss's potential move to make speed limits advisory would bring the UK closer to countries such as Germany, where some sections of the autobahns are unrestricted, which I guess is partially given the eco-protesters out there a virtual middle finger, because quite a lot of them seem to think that driving slower and slower and slower is the answer in using less fuel. But if you drive at 30 miles an hour rather than 50, you're actually using more fuel because the car needs more power to go, doesn't it? Although, admittedly, driving 70 miles an hour does use more fuel than driving 60. But I'm guessing that's probably still not as much fuel as it would take to drive 30 miles an hour, because that would be in a lower gear. Although, please, obviously, in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong. And while this probably does sound all well and good, that we could drive probably an extra 10 or 15 miles an hour over the current speed limit to get to places quicker, I just don't see it happening, because I think it would be quite hard to get through Parliament. But of course, signalling that she may be potentially open to the idea kind of appeals to voters without announcing anything, doesn't it? At the hustings, Truss didn't give any specific plans for law change, but refused to rule it out. She replied to a Tory member's questions. On speed limits, we need to be prepared to look at that. I can't give you a precise answer. Although Truss's appeal to drivers comes late in her campaign, she did claim back in 2018 that a higher speed restrictions of 80 miles an hour would improve the nation's productivity, as drivers would be able to get to work quicker. Of course, while she may be open to the idea, I've got a feeling if anything it's probably going to take a while to happen, because not only have we got the current energy crisis and cost of living crisis to worry about, and she needs to deal with that, I'm sure there'll be many more things that will pop up for her to deal with beforehand, and hopefully the TV licence will certainly be one of them. Although it does make me wonder just how far she'd also go. Maybe she might want to roll out the things in this video even quicker, which might be for good for some people, but I'm guessing bad for others. Anyway, subscribe for more and I'll see you in the next one.